Look at that. Waited until I'm exiting out the schoolyard, standing there, waiting until I exit the schoolyard to walk in front of me. Why? I'm wearing a gray shirt. Again, using the color gray. All right. These people, serious mental illness, and they operate on a level of dysfunction that they think is normal, but it's not normal. This is not normal. This is some serious mental illness within these people, and particularly within black women, right? And I'm not saying that to be disparaging to black women. I'm just saying that because it's the truth. If you look at the majority of women of other groups, they don't behave like black women do in this dysfunctional mindset, right? They don't behave like that, right? And because they've been emboldened to behave in a dysfunctional way with no accountability, unlike black men, we are always held accountable. And black boys will always be held accountable, whether we did something or not, whether it's our fault or not. Because for one, they've conditioned black women to blame black men for everything that's wrong with them, right? And to love white men who are the reason why we're in the condition that we're in as a people, okay? So this is what is called the transference of blame, okay? Just like you have the transfers of triggers and anchors. Whew. Water just splashed on my head. And you religious people don't think of it as a blessing. Stop saying that bullshit. You know, I've heard this like this all my life, right? Growing up in a Christian family, heavily indoctrinated. Okay? So, again, this is what happens. So I got up this morning around 5:30, woke my son up, make breakfast. I asked his mother if she can iron his clothes, his school clothes. She was like, no. I said, why not? I said, I'm gonna go make him breakfast. Oh, I don't want to. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, I'm telling you the truth. I'm like, wow. See, I want you to understand how some of our women, particularly, I'm speaking as a black person, right? Now as a TI now, but as a black man, how some of our women, black women, matter of fact, the majority of them, okay, how they operate and how they justify this whole thing, right? Because again, when I'm being honest with her, I'm being honest in a way in which I'm trying to help her and speak the truth to her about certain things. Because I understand that, you know, we are all operating on a dysfunctional mindset. We are all living in what is called the backwards value system, or a negative value system. And we think that is perfectly normal. We think that is perfectly fine. So now she's being honest, right? But in terms of not being honest, she's being honest in how she's feeling and not wanting to do things that, as a mother, that you should do for your children, right? It's not a question of I don't want to. Shit, I don't want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, at 5:30 in the morning, to you know, when I'm here to make sure that my son gets to school on time. I don't want to make breakfast, right? But I do it because that's part of my responsibility, our responsibility that I choose to do when I'm here. Okay? And the fact that you're going to tell me, no, you don't want to iron your son's clothes for school, and that you're being honest. And I told her, I said, you know, this is the bullshit that you operate under, and the people who's feeding you this bullshit, right? If they have kids, I hope that somebody is feeding the other parent bullshit too, right? Because they are deliberately putting people in her path to tell her bullshit and encourage the bullshit, right? And so they think that I'm playing into their hands, right? So this morning my daughter now comes to me and we're talking, and she says to me, oh, mommy likes a clean house. And I said to her, I said, say that again? Because I think I had said to her, I had asked her to get my sneakers for me, and she couldn't find one side of my sneakers, right? And it's again because of the situation within the apartment, right? And her mother, I'll clean up the foyer, and her mother would just come and just throw stuff there. So again, last night, She's like, oh, when are you gonna put up the bike? I said, when you make a clean space, how about clean up the foyer? Well, we went to the beach like a month ago, and the cooler is still there. And I'm gonna show you guys what I'm talking about. And this is what she does. And I said to her, I said, Pamela, the cooler is not the problem. It's all the other stuff that's there. That's the problem. So she's like, oh, they got the AC there, whatever. And I'm like, how long ago did I buy you that AC? Right? I said to her, how long ago did I buy you that AC? Oh, let me see. Is that the dude? Holy shit. No, that's not the dude. Is it the dude? Oh, he's over the next. I was about to say, that might be the dude from yesterday. I'm not sure. Well, maybe it is. Actually, it's not. Oh, yeah, that's the Living Pants building. I'm like, why is he stopping there? But I want you to understand how they will use her neighbors, right, to engage in targeting me in such a way that it's like, yeah, it's so obvious, bro. It's like, come on, it's so obvious what they're trying to do. Now they're going to use the white guy theme, right? And I'm gonna tell you guys why, okay? Because you see, black women have become their concubines. You show them you give them a little, attention. You take them out to a fancy restaurant. Well, we know in terms of America, the white power structure, white people, particularly white men, are in control of the finances. We know that. So, that's the reality. And this is the reason why they do what they do, particularly in economically and financially castrating black men, right? So they know what they're doing, and I know what they're doing. So they're not fooling anybody except for themselves, right? And to other Negropeans who don't understand the dynamics of white racism and the violence that they incur on black people, black men and black women, and black children, okay? Except for black women. Black women don't understand that. They don't understand that, right? So anyhow, as I was saying, so I said to her, you worrying about a damn cooler when you have so much shit in that foyer that you keep piling up, and you worried about the cooler. One day, I keep telling you, you focus on the wrong things. But she gotta make some excuses, right? So instead of saying, there's like 60 things in the foyer that needs to be cleaned, that needs to be moved out of the way, throw away, have you. I'm just gonna focus on that cooler because you know what, Nigeria, you didn't move it. So it's your fault. Right? As if me moving the cooler from the foyer is gonna create enough space so I can put up the bike. And then I told her, I said, I've constantly asked you, because I wasn't gonna do it myself, hey, listen, I bought you the bike. I said, I bought you the bike, right? Because I want you to exercise. Exercise is healthy. But I had to wait until she's ready. And she's not just, when I say wait, I'm not waiting a couple days or a week or 2 weeks. I'm waiting a month. I'm waiting months, years. Okay, it's always on her time. And I said to her, look, not everybody has to operate on your time. Your time is not more important than anybody else, and your schedule is not more important than anybody else. Sometimes you have to get on other people's schedule, particularly if your schedule operates at a deficiency. This is something that you have to understand, and this is what they don't understand. They think that us as black men, because they've been given this false sense of power over black men, this false sense of importance in the eyes of this white racist society, so they see white people disparaging black men, so they join in, because white women ultimately want to be Mrs. Cartwright. Okay, as the Crimson Cure says, they want to be Mrs. Cartwright. Okay, but they're not. Right, and they refuse to understand the position that black people are in this society, and particularly the war against black men, which has driven black men to the bottom of the barrel. Okay. So I said, look, you have to sometimes get on other people's schedule, particularly if their schedule is going to enhance your life. It's going to make your life a little easier. But they rather live under their dysfunctional schedule, operating in dysfunction and living a hard life. That's what they rather do. Why? Because again, it's a dysfunctional, backwards way of thinking and believing. And they don't understand that. So my daughter now, after, she couldn't find one of my sneakers. I said, yeah, because all that stuff is there, and your mother don't move it. And she's like, yeah, well, mommy likes to live in a clean house. I said, really? I said, look around you. Look around you. I'm going to ask you a question. Do your mother like to live in a clean house? And my daughter looked around, and she said, yes. I said, no, you are not going to do that. You are not going to see the reality and operate on the level of dysfunction and fantasy. I said to her, look around you again. Look around this apartment. Go and look. And of course her mother here. And of course, they co-opted her.
Good morning.
Good morning. At that point, they co-opted her conscious mind. And then she starts like looking down at my shoes. Because her mother was, I don't know if she was there to hear. I mean, I said it loud enough so she can hear. Because you have to tell people the truth. They'll hate you for it. But I'll tell you what, like I said, she could never say that I didn't tell her the truth. Because when they continue to operate in dysfunction and in fantasy, when the reality hits them, it's going to hit them like a ton of bricks. Okay? It's going to hit them like a ton of bricks. Right? And then they're going to understand that the people who care for them, what they've been telling them, the truth, and how important it is for them to know the truth. Right? But it's more important that we tell this to our young people, because people my age, her age, it's too late. If they haven't woken up to the truth already, it's too late for the vast majority of people, particularly black men and black women in their 40s, 50s, 60s. And this is a problem. So as black men, I keep saying, as black men, we have to start to teach our children the truth, because black women have totally brought into the dinocracy, right? The fantasy and the false reality that's being put in front of their eyes, because it makes them feel good. So they want to ignore the reality. When their children is failing, they ignore all of that and they blame the school system. Okay? Well, it's the teachers failing my kids. But yet, when you get home, instead of helping your kids with your homework, what do? You go to sleep. Because you talk about, are you tired? There are millions of people that go out there and they work and are tired. When I used to work, I had my son for the summer. What happened? I get up in the morning, I make his breakfast, I put it in the fridge. Okay? Dinner is made the day before. It's in the fridge if I'm working late. My mother is watching my son while I'm at work. Okay? But they're too busy having fun, and when they finish having fun, they're too tired to take care of their children. Right? And then they complain that the men that they're dating, they're not good men. But y'all the one that's teaching them. Y'all the one that's raising them. Okay? I mean, not you per se, but other women who are like you. Past, present, and probably in the future too. Right? So I told my daughter, I said, look around. Look around. What does the reality tell you? Do your mother like to live in a clean house? And she finally said to me, she said, no. I said, there you go. I said, this is how I want you to think. Right? Not believe, but think. Look at your reality. Okay? And look at what people do, not what they say. If you want to believe somebody, look at what they do, not what they say. Her mother heard that and she slammed the bathroom door and she got upset or what have you. But it's only temporary, because she reverts back to who she is. Many times during the years when we were together, she's like, oh, I'm going to try so hard this year to be a better person. But it's just taught, because whenever she meets somebody, she puts on this face. See, I don't need to. It doesn't matter which environment I go to. I am who I am. I am me. Right? I am me. I stop being a nice person, I become more of a good person, because that's what I need to be. And these women are very rebellious, and they don't understand that their lifestyle is contributing to their unhealthy behavior and to their unhealthy mindset. But nobody can tell them shit. Nobody can tell them nothing at all, right? And they continue to use us against each other. They continue to use black men against black women, and black men against other black men, black women against black men, and black women against other black women. And we have to understand that. We have to start to change our way of thinking and respect and love each other and be concerned about each other. I'll talk to you guys in the next video.